When you think of a superhero game, you're probably thinking a combination of DC, Marvel, spandex-clad heroes punching out the Gorillinator and his army of cyber monkeys. Well, you're thinking of Morbius Core edgelords morbing around the neighborhood morbidly. Underground is both of these things, and neither at the same time. Published before the Big Bang of 1993, Mayfair Games, yes, that Mayfair Games, the board game company that seemingly made every single game that's an upgrade from Monopoly. However, after the purchase of Asmodee and various other things, Underground kinda got shuttered, even if it had quite a bit of success. But let's do a quick rundown of the situation. In the far-off year of 2021, the American dream is dead, mostly because of rampant super-corporatism and an expanding military-industrial complex to expand the military-industrial complex. We need to go further beyond, plus ultra, you could say, mostly by using alien technology we found in the Florida Everglades, reverse engineered to make gene super soldiers. Problem is, they kinda fucking suck. They're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and are a massive liability for the corporations that build them and the nations that hire them. So our benevolent conflict company corporate overlords decide to load them into Slumberland, a VR simulation rewriting their backstory to be a lot more super heroic and explain their newfound powers. Because our cool superheroes get superpowers to blow people up. You are one of those heroes after coming home from a shit show in Paraguay. You're mustering out. You're done. The war's over, kid. A soldier without a war to fight. But all those instincts of all that black and white, all of that I'm a goddamn superhero, starts kicking in with all the other terrible shit going down. So you join up with some other vets. Go save the world, superhero, or just try to make a living. The actual setting is a mixture of one of the best cyberpunk settings I've ever read, mixing in some grim realities and the down-and-out nature, trying to make it day-to-day while being cool about it. It's also a very specific riff on a very particular brand of 90s edge comics and superheroes in general, but what's the game actually about? See, this is where things start getting a little messy, so I'll explain an important aspect of units. Every single thing you do is a unit of something. A 3-unit piece of information is about a typed page. A 5-unit thing of water is about 150 cubic feet. A 9-unit weight is 800 pounds. Everything in this book is measured in units in some capacity. But what are we rolling exactly? At the most basic, it's 2d10 plus modifiers versus 2d10 plus modifiers. If you manage to roll dubs, you end up rolling again and adding the result together. So if I have a strength of 7, I roll 2d10 plus 7, my GM will then elect whatever challenge is and then roll their 2d10 and add their difficulty. Whoever manages to score the highest wins. Degrees of success come in the difference. D tier, you get by an inch. A tier, you're super awesome mega success and everyone loves you. This also plays a little bit with the karma currency, which converts fails into successes and increases the tier of successes, but karma isn't really touched on all that much. Got it so far? Because that's 99% of the game. Creating a character is actually a pretty in-depth process, most of which relies on allocating $20 million of budget across your recruiting, genetic design, genetic surgery, and reconditioning. Recruiting and indicates your base skills and stats. All of these are added around and important. 6 is considered to be peak human potential. As a superhero, though, you'll be far above average in a few things, and you are encouraged to specialize if you can. Being a middling character isn't going to get you really far with some of the freaks you can muster up, though, but being able to be the only normal person to corral them may be your saving grace. Genetic design and surgery is where the super part of superheroes come in. Your genetic design budget gives you a set of points that you can develop out your skills and more special abilities, granting you some crazy things such as increasing your stats, telepathic blasts, electric charges, shooting acid, and every other kind of cool superpower you can think of. Then you actually need to have the surgery done to get them installed. Yeah, you can buy these certain points for your surgeon skill to determine the quality of actually getting those powers. If they do well, you'll get some bonuses to the surgery and everything is great. If they fuck up, you might lose some of your powers or even their effectiveness. Finally, you have to recondition yourself out. How well do you get out of Slumberland and adapt to the new world around you? Each enhancement has some stress, and a good counselor can get rid of some of it, but if your stress ever exceeds your tolerance, which is never really that high, all things considering, you emerge completely fucking insane and the character is lost. Go through your time in the service, scoring a few purple hearts, bad deals, few injuries, and get plopped back in LA with a firm pat on the bum and a few years worth of PTSD. Most of the time you'll be addicted to some kind of antipsychotic and a chip on your shoulder. Combat is where things get dangerous and pretty bloody, forcing the characters to get into close quarters for Friday night firefights. With most actions, you're going to have kind of an automatic and a challenge action, but the moment of truth, I draw a gun and shoot you in the face. What happens exactly? I roll a gun combat contested check against your dexterity. If you Neo Matrix that shit, then great, you're not going to get hurt. But if you do get popped, you won't take 1d10 damage or 2d10 damage or anything like that. We'll need to make a penetration check. We'll take the penetration rating of our gun against your resistance and armor. This success levels determines how well we actually hit. So for example, a 50 caliber Urban Nightmare handgun, street classic, has a damage of light, medium, heavy, and incapacitated. If I manage to hit you dead on with a B success, that's a heavy wound, -3 to all of your actions. Another hit in any category isn't going to be a light wound or a medium wound, it just escalates into being incapacitated. Any kind of damage escalates it, and now anything further than incapacitation is death. Characters are not immortal. Unless you're really doubling down on your resistance and armor, then most things in life will plink off you, bar some heavier duty guns meant to bring freaks like you down where you belong. Underground is kind of a one-of-a-kind supers game, playing a lot into the history, the American dream, and all the mythos we've built around superheroes and that dream. It's overtly political, that 1993 sense, but it also knows how to have fun with it rather than just preach at you. It never tells you it's good or bad, it just tells you what's going on and how that fucking sucks for these guys. The game itself is 90s jank core, but all the charts and table flipping all boils back down to that 2d10 plus modifiers. No greater than a +15 if you're particularly good at something. Not a complex game, if laid out a little bit complex to sell you on the setting. I recommend it. A couple of expansions increase the amount of stuff you have to work with as well. And trust me, you'll need it in LA. My name is Notepad, and this was Underground. If you like what I do here, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Many thanks to the board of directors of Tasty Ghoul for continuing to fund our misadventures. Remember everyone, Tasty Ghoul, be a people person.